What is up, everybody? Welcome back to everyone's favorite YouTube channel, L Smosh, and we are here with a very special guest, the boy behind the Game Sphere himself. We got Josh Peck, also known as Cody, aka Critical Kid, aka Slushy, whatever you want to call him. He's a very close homie. He's the creator of Toxic Dragonfly Productions, one of the few people that are willing to sponsor my broke ass. And Cody, it's just great to have you on, man. How you doing?
It's great to be on, Swigger. I'm doing pretty well. Over at my end, I am having 3 different secret projects. It's hush hush material on March. So be on the lookout for those videos. So yeah, on with the questions.
Alrighty. So first up is, what was life like for you before you started making content?
Ooh. Which one did you wanted me to say? The life during childhood or the life during closer to the video production?
I guess the second one.
Okay. How I gotten into making YouTube videos is when I was in middle school, I always loved the idea of being on YouTube. And this was before all the ad revenue, all of the, big superstardom. We didn't have Jake Paul like most of you people have now. We have someone even worse, Shane Dawson. But yeah, aside from that, I always wanted to do YouTube videos. And during I was going through that awkward stage where I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was inspired by channels like Indie Mogul to make stupid prop videos, and let's just say I embarrassed myself during that, and I despise those kind of videos. I was using Windows Movie Maker and it was just trash. So, of course, I was introduced to Adobe, and I started making videos where me and a few of my classmates started, messing around at school. And it turned out that those were doing well at the time, but apparently nobody wanted to be in them because they're camera shy or some bullcrap like that. And then we get to Critical Kid, which is very interesting. It started out as a school project. We were reading the book Frankenstein at the time, and we just so happened to have a, essay and a multimedia project, which, if you don't know what multimedia is, it's basically you have to make something to go along with it. Like, it could be a diorama of a scene from the book. It could be a song written about the book or anything. And since I was the only one who knew how to edit videos, I'm like, you know what? Let's do something similar to the content creator who shall not be named, and try to do a book-to-movie comparison like that content creator that shall not be named did an old versus new. So basically, I did it. Everyone loved it, but it was trash. That was the big drawback. Everyone loved it because they didn't know how to edit it, but the older I get and the more I try to perfect my craft, the more I started cringing every time I watched that. But that's how I got into videos. And of course, I didn't start having my footing until I created the Little Shop of Horror review. That's when I found my format. That's how I finally got my footing in. That's where it's like, this is exactly what I wanted to do all this time. It just took me a while to figure it out.
I am holding a VHS tape that says horror movie. Horror movie. I am lost in words. This is so bad that it's unintentionally hilarious.
by that point, that was when you did books versus films, which that became a regular segment that you do, and it was alternating between that and Critical Kid movie reviews, and you said Little Shop of Horrors. And what is your what would you say is your decision making process that makes you go, okay, I definitely want to do a video on this movie?
It's very hard to do a books versus films on, say, It or Dune. Now, I will do those in the future, don't get me wrong. It's just basically time. It's time, basically. There might be a book I wanted to cover for a long time. Like, I knew for the longest time I was going to have to cover Shrek, because it is the biggest meme of everybody on the internet. And I decided, yeah, let's do Shrek.
Somebody once told me there's a book to this movie, and I did not believe what they said. It wasn't until I read online where I was taken by surprise. Now that's one less book to be read. Well, requests start coming and they won't stop flooding. Gotta get going, gotta hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to do this one. I figured that it might be fun. So much to do, so much to read. Gotta go and rewatch this movie. You never know if you don't go. Now let's get on with the show.
And that could have come out a little sooner if it wasn't for COVID and the depression that came afterwards. So I had an extra 2 weeks. And surprisingly enough, We're Back in Dinosaur Story did better than this. Yeah, surprising. A 90s animated dinosaur film that was trying to rival against the likes of Don Bluth kicked Shrek's ass. How is that possible? Tell me, how is that possible? How is that possible? Okay, I'm calm. Anyway, proceed with the interview.
All right, so with these older videos, because I don't know if you really use these characters anymore, but you have a couple different distinct characters, and we talked about this with a couple of other episodes, like with Morgan and Gus. A lot of people like playing a bunch of different characters and stuff. You have mainly 4. You have Critical Kid, which is basically your main persona, Manager, Dictionary Guy, and Troll. So how did you come up with some of these characters, and out of all of them, which one is your favorite?
Okay, with Critical Kid, I wanted to have this sort of look based on Neo from The Matrix or Blade, the Marvel superhero vampire slayer, but I didn't have the budget at the time, so I went with the blue hoodie, and oh god, do I regret that. But I finally came up with this costume, you know, the red lens glasses, which I wanted red lens glasses before that, but I had to settle with those crappy 3D glasses that you get at movie theaters that they say, throw them away, recycle. And it's like, I paid $3 for these. Of course I'm not going to throw them away. So yeah, I get those. I recycle them in my own special way. And trench coat, thrift store. It's very rare to find these nowadays, but when I was doing the videos, I found hampers upon hampers of them, and I own like 5 of these suckers. So, yeah. The character that came out the first was Dictionary Guy, and this was during Books versus Films Frankenstein. Now, at the time, I was filming inside the classroom, and I had a huge deadline to meet. At that time, I didn't know what to do. I was trying my best to figure out, oh my goodness, how am I going to fill in this line? And I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to put a camera in my bathrobe, just as myself talking. And for some reason, it became Dictionary Guy, thanks to Gus Webb, who dubbed him that name.
We don't look under the bed. had a main antagonist called the Boogeyman, who is...
Fiction guy, what are you doing here? You're not even on my show.
Manager was kind of a co-production between me and Kayla Schaefer. If you don't know, Kayla Schaefer was the person who made Chibi Fangirl. She had a YouTube series where she talks about anime and fan fiction and all this other stuff. And she came up with this character.
You know you haven't reviewed anything in the last 2 weeks.
I know.
Manager, he's still around. I just haven't used him in that much of anything. I think the last time we saw him was with Nostalgia Kids, Tom and Jerry meets Willy Wonka review.
Hey kid.
Hey manager, what's up?
Say kid, we heard that it was your 5th year anniversary, so me and the guys decided to throw you a little bit of a surprise party.
But that was pretty much the last time we ever get to meet him. And Troll, oh gosh, what a story this was. Now, the inspiration for Troll is that at the time, being a little cringy teenager, I couldn't take criticism from people at comments and forums on my videos and all this other stuff. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to stick it to them by creating a character that is pretty much the worst hodgepodge of all trolls on the internet. And that's where Troll came in. And ironically enough, it became more of a recurring character on Nostalgia Kid's show, since he needed someone to bounce off of.
Right there, Nostalgia Kid.
Yeah, I should have saw this coming.
We move on to Toxic Dragonfly Productions. And this is basically where a bunch of different content creators. It's mostly a Facebook page at the moment. We eventually gonna expand. We gonna do it. We gotta get the funding, man. We got kids to feed. We got bills to pay. But
Go
at the moment,
go now, and I will promise I will give you the website plus a crappy game show.
Oh shit! What gave you the idea to try and make a gathering of a bunch of different content creators?
I guess if you were to ask me about that, then you have to ask pretty much everyone who's done a website or a Facebook page or anything of the sort. You know, Mr. Coat and Friends, Reviewers Unknown, Channel Zero, all these, because they all come from one source. We were inspired by Channel Awesome, which we now know is complete trash, but we were inspired by them. And just like Channel Awesome, I knew for a fact that they didn't pay those people to be on their site. It was more of a promotional thing. So I figured, you know what? I want to be nice. I want to promote their content to fresh eyes who have not seen their content before and try to give them a little bit of a leeway. And thanks to shows like Drive-In Mutants, this podcast right here, SwigTalks, I feel like we don't need those sites anymore. We don't need those sites anymore. We need, people making content and coming together instead of being everyone else's competition. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I feel is going to be the downfall of this fandom, this community, because it's not a community. It's more of, if you don't have this many subs or that many subs, then I'm not going to communicate with you. I'm not going to break bread with you. I'm not going to, do a crossover because you're not popular enough. And I feel like it's become a cesspool of egos, a cesspool of narcissism, and I just wanted to change that. I wanted to change how we look at internet personalities. So Toxic Dragonfly, at its core, accepts everybody, whether you're, at 8 million to 1 subscriber, we just try to lift each other up instead of tearing them down like pretty much every reviewer on the internet. But that's none of my business, boo.
So then we get on to some of your other series, some of your other side shows that you have with your character, Critical Kid. We got 3 specific ones at the moment. We got Riffs, Christmas Commercial Breaks, and Critical Kid Tastes. So why don't you talk a little bit about those?
Oh boy, those 3 categories were all made to just push content out. And I like doing them, but at the same time, I regret doing them because it's just rushing out content, which is something I try to be against. But, you know, if you want to keep subscribers, you have to push that content. You got to get them to be interested, give them a reason to subscribe to you. So the first one I did was dark berry flavored Dr. Pepper. And at the time, me and my coworkers, we've been talking about this, like, oh, have you tried the new dark berry? You know, you're a huge Spider-Man fan. I could take it. So you should try it.
The best way I can describe this drink is that it's kind of like Dr. Pepper mixed in with blueberry snow cone flavoring. Not too impressive, but it promises on what's advertising. Do I recommend it? Not so much, but it does make a good set piece for my Spider-Man collection. I'm gonna give this drink 3 Dying Uncle Bens out of 5.
And I think, wait a minute, I can get something here. I can basically satirize the tasting videos that other YouTubers have made, because let's be honest, YouTubers who eat food in front of the camera get more subscribers than people writing a script, making fair points about a movie, and putting effort into said movie review. They don't get that much views. But oh, a guy that's eating freaking Cheeto crusted crab with cheese sauce or so, yeah, that gets tons of views. Yeah, hashtag mukbang. With Critical Kid Riffs, I always wanted to try something like this, because I've noticed a lot of reviewers / critics on YouTube, they always want to be like Mystery Science Theater. They want to riff certain shorts. They want to riff, you know, full-length movies like Linkara did with the movie Scrooge. They just are inspired by the likes of Mystery Science Theater, just like we're inspired by the likes of their videos. So I decided, if I was going to riff shorts, they will be some that I grew up with. That way it will be easier to write. And the first one was Woody Woodpecker and Pantry Panic, which surprisingly is the most viewed video on the channel.
We're all going south. Groundhog says a terrible blizzard's coming.
Go on. That guy don't know his shadow from a hole in the ground.
Woody Woodpecker, the first climate change denier.
And I was going in like, oh, this is going to be easy. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It was, now, if you guys don't know anything about riffing a short or riffing a movie, it is so much harder than you think. With like a movie review, you just, you know, talk about the movie here, there, make some jokes, and of course, give your final thoughts or your, you know, scores or whatever YouTubers do. But with a riff, it's kind of like you may get like 5 or 6 jokes into like a 20-minute short, but then have a lot of dead space. So I tried to nitpick the littlest things just so they could fill up the dead gaps. And what accommodated was more, it was funny, but it could have been better. I still like it. I'm glad I actually, you know, tried doing this video, but it was a lot harder, and a lot of people didn't laugh. Now, the other riff that I did was with James Sullivan, and that one was one from my childhood that I watched a lot when my grandparents were taking care of me and my sister during the summer. It's called Mother Goose Stories. And I didn't know this at the time, but Ray Harryhausen actually did the animation for those cartoons. And I'm like, okay, this has to be there because it has that uncanny valley feel to them. And we just start writing the script. Me and James, we got so much more material from it than the Woody Woodpecker one, but unfortunately didn't make a bunch of views like the Woody Woodpecker riffs. So unfortunately, that's one of the most underrated riffs. Now, for future riffs, it's hard to tell. I'm currently at my biggest peak with reviews. I have a lot on my plate, and since COVID-19, my work is very demanding on putting me in these crazy shifts. You know, some days I work one night shift, and then a few hours later I work a day shift or something like that. But of course, videos are coming. It's just going to take some time.
Series in the works. So do you have any like potential shows that you're working on? Some you might want to bring back in full force?
I've always wanted to bring back Rogues Gallery. For those who don't know what Rogues Gallery is, it is a show in which I have a villain personality called Dr. Know-All, and he basically talks about the horrible origins of supervillains from comic books past to comic books future to comic books whatever. And I got this idea from watching Watch Mojo's supervillain origins and Linkara's Long Box of the Damned. I figured, what if I were to hodgepodge the two and make one series where I play as an evil scientist, I review comics, but I don't review the whole comic. I review the character's origin story. And I thought, sounds like a novel concept. And I did the Joker one.
Hello there, my subjects, and welcome to the first ever episode of The Rogues Gallery, where we take a look at the most infamous and evil masterminds throughout comic book history.
And that underperformed. And because it underperformed, I put it under kids. Thank you, Kappa. But, of course, I'm planning on possibly bringing it back. I just don't know what villains to do, how to start, how to even market the thing. And future shows coming up, I'm not sure. I'm pretty content with books versus films. I feel like, because of the smash hit that the reboot has gotten, I decided, just mostly focus on book to film content. I would love to do more comic book reviews because the only one I did was on Shazam first appearance, which is Wiz #2. And I decided, hey, Shazam's coming out. I would love to take a look at. And apparently everyone loved it.
This was a dated origin story that really needed a makeover. What else can I say, but it's not my cup of tea.
So I decided, well, let's keep this going. It's just that I had time to do the other comic book videos. That's pretty much where the problem lies.
The last two questions. Favorite video you've ever done and least favorite video you've ever done?
Ooh, it depends. Are you talking about before I came onto YouTube or after I came onto YouTube?
I'd say when you got to YouTube.
Okay, so pretty much my favorite videos. It's very hard because they're like my children. I don't know which one I want to pick, but I would have to say the one that I am the most proud of, the one that I love the best, I laugh hardest at, was Scream Bloody Murder. That one was, when I was writing it, I was going through a depression during the time because I had a crush on this one person and she went for somebody else. And at that time, I was so depressed, I needed some therapy, and I decided let's just watch crappy horror movies. And the one that was on the list was Scream Bloody Murder.
The acting was pretty good for the most part, even though there were some bad performances here and there. The main selling point, which is the bloodshed and violence, is completely toned down for what they were marketing for. Not to say that this is a bad thing, but it's kind of a letdown due to the false advertisement. But overall, I kinda enjoy the movie. Am I saying that it's perfect? By all means, no, but at least we can all agree that it's a better bondage movie than 50 Shades of Grey.
The reason why I like that video so much is that not only was it extremely funny, it also laid the foundation of what the last video, which was Little Shop of Horrors, did not. It laid down the foundation saying, hey, this establishes my content through now on. So, yeah. My least favorite one, oh gosh. I don't know if I have a least. I gotta say, my older videos before I came to YouTube, but that's pretty much every YouTuber. I gotta say, the weakest video that I've ever done in terms of Critical Kid review has to be Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. At that time, I was pushing for a Christmas video. I didn't know how good it was going to be. I just, decided, hey, let's just get a very well-known crappy movie that centers around Christmas, and that's it. And I just reviewed that, and I couldn't make any jokes on it because everyone else has done it. I mean, Riff Tracks has done it, MST3K done it, which are the same people, so they essentially did it twice. If you want to go third time, technically, Cinematic Titanic, which is also from the same people as those two shows, did it. So they did their thing 3 times, not to mention that other people had riffed it or reviewed it or made fun of it in some form or another.
This movie is weird, and that's why I love it. I can't do this movie any more justice. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out this holiday season. It is really a treat.
Let's just say it was scarce to find material, but I knew that I had to put content out in December. And it just felt rushed. Even the ending's like, I can't do this movie justice. You just gotta see it for yourself. Which is a terrible sign for any video. Which is like, no, you should always talk about the ending. You should always finish up what you started. That's basically how a lot of YouTubers messed up. And that was my biggest mistake with that video.
On to the last point. This is pretty much the wrap up where we get to plug all of our stuff. You got any social medias you want to shout out? Your channel, anything like that?
Well, I have my YouTube channel, which is Critical Kid. I have my Facebook group, which is Toxic Dragonfly Nesting Ground, and I also have an official Toxic Dragonfly Facebook page. And let's not forget about my OnlyFans. Just kidding. That never existed. I'm not dumb porn.
I just got that shit. Oh, man. All right. So, yeah, you can check all those out. Those will be linked in the description as always. As for me, I got songs coming up. I am trying to work on a parody of the Poke Rap from Pokemon, everyone's favorite Chinese cartoon. It's going to be about all the different political ideologies. It's going to be called the Ideologues Rap. I got an original track coming up, hopefully. Going to try and work on some music videos for songs I've done for some of my albums. A bunch of that kind of shit. We got a Swig game review. Hopefully it's going to be on either Animaniacs games or it's going to be on the Garfield racing game, which is really fucking funny. Hopefully we got another SwigTalk after this coming out. I really want to keep doing SwigTalk. Maybe someday we'll do more Biased News Network if y'all want some of that. Some people said they wanted it, so if there's any crazy shit going on, and we can make jokes about it, then hopefully we will continue it. But anyway, yeah, so that wraps up this SwigTalk podcast, and thank you once again, Cody, for coming on.
It's my pleasure, Swig, and I hope you have a wonderful day as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, everybody, MC Swigger out, Critical Kid out, y'all. Peace.
Yeah. Yo. That is so white.
Okay.
I take back everything I said from the beginning. You should put that yo in the title card.
That's fucking staying in. We gotta leave that.